Good evening, everybody. We're going to get going in a couple of minutes, so thank you for your patience. If you're on our YouTube stream, I did put a link in there so you can join us in the live webinar. I can't see the chat, so I can't answer your questions, but if you want questions answered, just join us in the live webinar by using the link, and then you can ask questions. So we'll get going in a couple of minutes. Thank you for your patience. Okay, everybody, we'll get going. So welcome to this evening's webinar with ACY Securities, Forex Trading Live Market Analysis. My name is Duncan Cooper. So before we get into it, if you can read through the risk disclaimer, that would be great. Any questions to the question and answer box? Got the chat box open too. I'm going to be talking about market analysis. I might be looking at potential entry points that I'm looking at, but that's not suggesting that you should take those entries. You have to be responsible for your own trades, and you're responsible for the outcome of anything that you do. So that's what the risk disclaimer is there for. You can just make sure you read through it. All right, let's move along. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. And I'm a full-time trader. Been trading the market now, Forex market now, for more than 15 years, mentoring clients for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is on screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Now you can connect with me through the week at our website, acy.com, Market News tab, at our YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia, and you can connect with me personally. So my video analysis goes out for Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, into Friday sometimes. You'll find it on our website and YouTube channel, as well in our Telegram channel. I'm posting analysis in there based around the webinar education series that I do. Net trend, support and resistance, trading levels that I'm watching to trade around through the week. If you want to get access to that, contact Nathan Bray at acy.com. So it's nathan.bray. I'll put his details in the chat in a moment as well. If you'd like to get access to my chart layouts, which you can see in here, and you'll see on my charts in a moment. If you want to get access to my chart layouts, pivot points, and other indicators that I use in the webinars, then just contact Nathan. So I'll put his details in the chat, and then we'll get going. All right, Nathan's details in the chat there. So if you want to get access to the Telegram, or you have any questions in general, contact Nathan. Get access to my chart layouts, just contact Nathan. He'll get that set up for you. All right, before we get into it, I just want to look at what the news is doing. We've had the Aussie cash rate come out today, raised by 50 base points, and the Aussie has sold off since. Getting into the midnight now, we've got the job opening figures. In the morning, we've got the New Zealand unemployment rate coming out at 8:45 a.m. And Swiss CPI data 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. And to next midnight, 12 on Thursday, we've got the ISM service PMI, the big one coming out for the week. Two more things big coming out for the week. And Thursday, we got the UK interest rate decision. On Friday, we got the US unemployment data coming out. So got to bear those in mind. You know, trying to trying to hold a trade on the pound dollar through that on Thursday would be rather risky, but I'm going to be looking after that. Excuse me one moment. All right, sorry about that. I had a bit of a sneezing fit. Thought I'd mute the mic. All right, let's get to the charts. Now, if you've been watching the charts, price has been moving already today, which can often be the case when I'm doing what we're doing in webinar. Price has already moved and nothing's really setting up imminently. But on the pound dollar, I just want to have a look at the day chart. I did some analysis on this earlier in the day. You can see that on our YouTube channel. Now, this is the day chart, which is in an uptrend, but on the weekly chart, it's in a downtrend. So we're having a corrective rally up here at the moment. And I'm just watching to see if price can get up to the 62% level, which is at 123.20. And it also coincides with an area of day chart resistance up here at 123.32. So it's a little bit shorter there at the moment. And this 122.51 line we've got in is a weekly level of resistance from over here. So we're into weekly resistance at the moment, battling that. And I'm just seeing if price can move up to the higher level. Now, sorry, back to the day chart. This day chart is in an uptrend. And I'm looking to see if this can finish its trend up there, that 62 level. Now, the 4-hour. Price structure is still up. MACD is wanting to cross down in the short term. Now, what I'm noticing is that price has pulled back to an area of 4-hour support here, 121.91. So if this uptrend is going to remain in play and get up to that 62 level, that could be where price gets support today, intraday. So it's a little bit just supports us below 122. So, do we get a trend line break, MACD crossing this area? Trend line's a bit acute here, but in any event, I'd be waiting for MACD to cross up, and then do we start to see price wanting to hold above 122? If it does, that might be an indication that we're going to start to find support here intraday for a move up. If you look left, this is where price was consolidating yesterday before wanting to move up. So orders were taken here, buy orders were taken to move up. So are we just back to the area of consolidation of yesterday, wanting to move back up and test weekly resistance at 122.51. So if it does move up and you do trade, 122.51 is resistance. So if it doesn't want to slice straight up and through there, then that's an area where you're going to have to start to manage your trade effectively. Okay. So we might get a turnaround here. You can monitor that. All right, let me just want to click through. I don't think anything else is really in an area where I would just jump on something. Now, the euro yen, this is very counter trend, but it's in a very good level. So you'd have to make a judgment call yourself as to whether you want to go counter trends for the opportunity of maybe getting on a long-term trade up at the point of where support is, or do you want to wait for some more clarity? We potentially have already had a trend line breakdown here. So if I go to my day chart, we've had a heavy sell-off down to 134.12. This line is this monthly top here, trading down into monthly support. This monthly chart trend is up. We're having a pullback. There is a minor monthly bottom there. This is a major, that's minor there. So we're pulling back to a monthly support and also levels of weekly support. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. We haven't hit the weekly levels of support yet, but we're getting into a very strong area of support. And on the daily, there's a daily low here at 133.91. Now, so it's a clear level of support where, this upward move all the way up to 144 started in this zone. You can look left as well. There's some more support lows here to the left. So we're into an area of support. I mean, we could still move down and through, but we're moving back down to monthly support 134. Let me just get that line, 134.12. All right. Now, the 4-hour trend is still down. A more conservative approach in this area, if this is where support's going to come in, would be to look for the 4-hour uptrend to form before looking for an opportunity to get long. If you want to be aggressive, we've already seeing a bit of MACD divergence down here. The price actually moving down, indicators moving up. We've had a trend line break there. We could get a trend line break, a further trend line break here. We're starting to get a little higher bottom forming on the figure. We're moving above monthly, back above monthly support. So a break above that trend line on a close, starting to show an uptrend at that area. All right, it is counter to the daily at the moment. And, this could be a short-lived move from this area, could be a long-term move from this area. The safer approach would be to look for a 4-hour bullish structures to form, but we don't have that yet. But you just have to judge yourself. Do you like the area? Do you want to be aggressive for an entry, stop below today's low? Or do you want to wait for, on the 4-hour chart, for structures to form where it moves up and it at least starts to form a higher bottom? So it comes back down maybe. So breaks back above support, back down to test support or hold just above support. And then do we get a higher bottom forming on the 4-hour chart? That will be more, more conservative. But there's always a chance that it doesn't do that for you. If it does find real strong support, it could just move up and not give you that opportunity. So you just have to balance. Do you want to be aggressive or wait for a conservative entry? All right, so we're at a key level of support. You just need to determine do you want to trade that support? How much confirmation do you want to see? All right, I want to go to the dollar index now and just have a quick squiz at this. From a monthly perspective, we're withdrawing from some monthly resistance back in time, 108.09 and 109.24 up here. It's not changing the monthly trend, but the monthly candle was a bit wicky. Are we going to have a month down this month on the dollar index? Weekly, we're having a 3-week pullback, but it doesn't change the trend. All right, so we're just seeing a corrective phase on the dollar index at the moment. Too early to tell if it's the final top or is it just corrective. And the daily here is just showing you the downtrend. Pairs to the US dollar are just showing the exact opposite of what we're seeing on the dollar index at the moment. So this is coming into some support tops. One here, there's another one here that you can get into. There's another one here. So potentially, if I just kind of box that in, this area could be a support area for this market. All right. So keep your eye on what the dollar index is doing. If we start to close above that area, move away from that area, pairs to the US dollar are probably going to start to reverse. All right. With the stock indices, S&P 500, we've been having a rally, and it's going to go to my weekly chart. We do have a weekly uptrend running into weekly resistance levels here. So I just want to take you to the monthly. There's a minor top where you can draw a fib high to that low there. Then what you're going to see is that we're running into the 50 level at the moment. So, it could hold there. I'd be more inclined to see price maybe run up to 62, where we've got some resistance. That resistance is this area over here. So what we're seeing at the moment is dollar index is pulling back. So that's a little bit negative. Stock market's rallying up within what I would class as the monthly range. Lower top on the monthly to a lower low. This is just corrected against the monthly trend at the moment. The weekly is up. That weekly trend could now hold for the long term and change the monthly. But I don't know if we have enough information to say that the overall bottom of the market's come in. Certainly, it's making a significant low there. All right, but if we do start to see this area of resistance hold and turn around, then that's starting to turn around. The dollar index will probably start to turn back up, and then pairs to the US dollar will start to move back down. Slavia, I'll have a look at the euro dollar. I'll head over there now. So the euro dollar. All right, so it's rather consolidatory. It's hit resistance up here at 102.78, daily resistance. And we've got day support down here at 10096. That's monthly support there at 101.80. So 101.8. And we're consolidating here. All right, the weekly trend is down, like I was showing you on the pound. This is having 3 weeks up. 3-week correction at the moment. Not changing the trend. I'm looking potentially for this just to get up to 103.40, which is broken monthly support. So the daily is consolidated to fractionally up. It's hit resistance today and already started to sell off from there. Now, if you go to your 4-hour, whilst it's hit resistance there, then done a bit of selling today, structure in the 4-hour is still up. See these higher bottom, higher bottom, higher top, higher top. This might just have enough legs to get up to the 103.40 level up here. That's the level I'm watching. Of course, it could have failed here, but it might just have a little bit more legs to it. So let's drop it down to the 15. We are seeing a trend line break, or it's trying to give a trend line break at the moment. Don't see if we've got a clear break above there at the moment. So what this might do, and I hit the mic, if we're going to hold, let me just go back down to my 4-hour chart. I'd much rather see a deeper pullback here to the 62 level. It hasn't got there. Or down here, the 62 level, which is at 102.02, and the figure 102.100 down here. I'd much prefer to see price, if I was going to trade this myself to the upside, I'd much prefer to see this come down to this level. Slav, you're saying to me, the 4-hour, you're saying the MACD is about to cross through. Well, there's a gap there at the moment. So it's only crossed through when it's crossed through. All right, so that doesn't mean to say it's going to cross, because if this suddenly goes up strongly, the gap between those two lines will move apart again. So we don't have a cross down yet. Yes, if we get a cross down, I think any potential movement further up kind of gets negated. But at the moment, I don't see a cross there yet. All I'm seeing at the moment is this fib that I've drawn across the 4-hour structure. We're having a pullback. For me, the better level is always the 62 or the 79% pullback. We've only pulled back to the 50. So that might break the trend line and start to move up. Personally, if I was trading myself, I'd wait for it, this 102.100 level. That's the more opportune level, the 62 level, with the green pivot, M1, and the figure. All right, so that would be my level to watch on a pullback to trade up from. Of course, it might not come down that deep, but I think it's potentially just holding to its trend. We might see a break above 102.78, resistance here above that high, just to get into and up to 103.40 maybe. That's what I'm waiting for. So I'm not actually trading this to the upside. I'm waiting to see whether we can get up to the 103.40 level, because I'm not so sure, back to my 4-hour chart, I'm not so sure that we can really get above this level. All right, so it is just barely holding its bullish structure. I think if we come back up to 102.78 and we get another failure, that might be the last failure. All right, so I'm just waiting to see if does 102.78 get broken to move up to 103.40. If it doesn't, if it fails once more, then I'm going to start to look to get short at the top of this range. All right, assuming that it gets back up to the top of the range. So I've been waiting a couple of weeks for this to get up to 103.40. Now this pair in itself for the rest of the week, okay, could just remain range bound. This could stay range bound for the whole month. We're in August, which historically can be a kind of a range bound month because of the holiday season in the Northern Hemisphere. This could potentially just be moving down, back down to support where it got there last week, and then just move all the way back up to here. It could stay there all month if it wants to. For the best part, this has been range bound, started the base of the range last month on the 19th. So we're, well, 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in consolidation at the moment. All right, so if it can keep its trend, then watch the 62% retracement level, which overlaps with the figure. Let me just put that back in. And a pivot down there. All right. All right, that's euro dollar. Don't know whether that helped you out. Don't know whether are you already in it, Slav, or are you looking to get in? Saying the pound might have interest rates rise. Well, I think it's expected 50 base point rise for the pound is expected, so that'll be all getting priced in. Could force the euro down. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so you're saying, all right, so you already sold the euro dollar. I mean, structurally, it's still in an uptrend, but I can see here that we've moved below the central pivot, and the 3 50-minute candles there have rejected the central pivot. So, you know, it might just hold there to continue down, but structurally your day chart trend is up and your 4-hour chart trend is up. So, you know, work that into your calculation. All right, I'm just going to head over to, just want to see what the euro yen's doing. It's still hold, it's still at that support level. It's not broken that trend line yet. All right, Aussie yen. Now I did post in the Telegram about the Aussie yen today. And I'm going to go to my day chart. Might just take that fib off a moment. Now, we obviously failed up here at the top. We discussed, you know, this area. I know somebody traded down from here. I don't know whether anybody got in over here, but I was looking for this to be failing up there. Trade down. Discussed that last week. Now, from the monthly chart perspective, whilst we're selling off at the moment, we are just pausing a moment. Just want to check a couple of levels. All right. Let me just get these lines off for a moment. We've been selling down from some weekly and monthly resistance up here, but structurally on the monthly chart, this is still in an uptrend. And Cameron, you're telling me that the double top has hit the 200% marker from the double top. Price projection, we'll look at that. So whilst we've been having negativity on the day chart, the monthly chart structure here is still in an uptrend. So we could actually just be looking for this to be pulling back to a 62 level or to support. If you look left over here, we have a couple of tops here that we're contending with right now on the monthly chart, 90.29.4. And the upper one here is at 90.71.5. So whilst you might be looking at your day chart and going, wow, this is really selling off, structurally, the monthly trend is up here and we're pulling back to old tops. All right, so if I was in the shorts, I might want to be tightening up my target levels, moving my stop down, because trading into 2 monthly support tops here, monthly trend is up, MACD is still up. From that highest time frame there, everything's positive. It's just a couple of months pullback. All right. Now, I know the weekly's down because it's having a couple of months down, but if we start to see support coming in, and I had a fib drawn in from this low to that high, we're just, you know, getting into a little bit beyond, a little bit below 62 level, and we've got the 79% level a bit further down. Now, an area that I was watching after the interest rate decision, I posted in the Telegram, was this low here. This was a weekly low, 91.41. We're currently trading at 90.61, so about 80 pips below it. I'm just going to be watching to see whether we can get back above that level. Is today's trading with all the interest rate changes 91.416? Is it just, seller's paradise today, but it's going to be a short-lived, and we might move back above that level of support? Because if we do, we could well move back up to test the highs of last week. So I'm just going to take that line off. So we're coming into some other areas of support here and over here. At the moment, the two lines that I just put on, these 90.71 and 90.29, these are monthly support. So if we start to hold here, we could well move back up. Can we move back above 91.41 now? Cameron, you were talking about this double top here. We've well exceeded the double top price projection, which is 200% at 92 approximate area. So this is way overstretched. Yes, it looks negative, but as I showed you on the monthly chart, it's not that negative on the monthly. It's just corrective. All right. Of course, we could at the top have a complete change in trend, and it's going to take a few months more to really show that. But if we start to hold above these monthly levels of support, if we start to see at least 2-4 hour chart, we start to see a 4-hour price structure changing trend back to up. All right, we will probably start to move back up the range. And the key area to watch is this 91.41. Any price action moving up at the moment. If we're going to continue down, if we rally back up, if you want to be on the short side, 91.41 should hold as resistance, and then you might see an opportunity to trade down. If we simply start to move above that level, watch that level to be support. All right, to trade up. So I don't see anything to do at the moment. It's still in the hands of the sellers, but we're way down the track here. I'm not going to sell it down here at the bottom of the day. And I'd need to see a rally. I need to sell a rally. I need the 4-hour chart at least to have a rally, hold at 91.41 and fail for me to sell it down. And we're into that clear area of monthly support there as well. All right. I got something coming in on the chat. Slavy saying, why interest rate increase today had such a significant impact on Aussie? Markets near the size of the increase for a few weeks now. Yeah, the Aussie bolted down at the news. Is it long-lived, or should we expect a bounce? Oh, who knows? Trying to work out what the market will do with interest rate decisions. Of course, they would have factored in a 50 base points. I haven't read the minutes yet or heard what the governor said after the release, but clearly the market didn't want to pop up. I was hoping it was going to pop up to 70.69 resistance, but we never got a pop up. And maybe the market is now anticipating a further 50 base points, and that they're maybe anticipating that's going to be bad for the economy. So that's why we're getting a sell-off. Now you might think, well, it should be positive. Usually all the positivity of the interest rate hike, if it's coming and then it comes in as expected, is usually priced in. So once it's priced in and it comes out, the large part of the market isn't going to keep buying because they've already bought for the move up, and potentially then it's going to move back the other way. Now, whether or not we're going to get a significant move continue, we will see in a moment. I'm going to get to the Aussie in a moment. Of course, it's hit the Aussie yen quite hard, but we're into support. So wouldn't surprise me one bit to see this start to move up down from this area of support. too low down today to be a seller. You need to have some form of rally, maybe back up to 91.41. Okay. All right, so we've already done today's projected low as well. So this is way overstretched for the day. Look for at least a rally back up to 91.41. Does it hold there? If it moves back above there, the sellers aren't in control anymore. The buyers are starting to take the ground back on that pair. All right, the Aussie dollar. So as we've just been discussing about the Aussie, we've got the interest rate come out. I was looking up at 70.69 because the weekly trend is down. All this movement up is corrective, and there's a 62% retracement level close to that daily resistance level. So whilst the daily is just holding up, it hasn't taken that low out yet today. I was looking up here at the 62 level to that daily resistance here. So what we are doing now is we've moved back below these two lows, which are monthly lows. The lowest low of those is at 69.67. So we're back below 69.67. We haven't taken out day support here, this little day support low. So if we just manage to hold there, there's still a chance that this can pop back up for a further move up. This MACD here looks a long way before it's getting ready to cross down. So there might just be a bit of more buying pressure in this. Now, what I did also note is though in opposition, the 4-hour MACD is a bit divergent here to price actually moving up. But on Friday here, this is Friday's low, got very strong support down here, just ahead of the 6,900 level. So I would anticipate even if we trade down below 6,900 in the short term, expect then that the low, let's say we are having a change in trend here now, structure, the 4-hour chart price structure anyway, is still up just. If we do break that low, I'm expecting that we would maybe break it a little bit, but because we got support there previously, we'll get a rally back up. And then that rally back up, you should be looking for maybe a lower top. Now that rally back up could all the way back up to 70.30 day resistance. So that top there, and you might see form up there head and shoulders pattern. So wherever that, if that breaks that low, let's say it breaks the low and gets to there, you know, looking at the 79% retracement level up to the 70.30 level or to these highs here. Looking for a high rally. All right. We got a lot of strong support there. That's why I'm thinking we'd get a higher rally at least back up into the area for an opportunity to sell down. Okay. Yes, we might take that top out, but we've had a strong sell-off today. I wasn't expecting such a strong sell-off, so if it doesn't take those lows out and change the 4-hour structure, we could take that high out and come into 70.69 and the 62% fib. So moving down to the 15, we're not wanting to take this low out. So if you're on the buyer side, there is a little swing point there. It's not going to cost you much in terms of risk to reward to go long on a break of that swing point. You would only need to risk about no more than 20 pips for, you know, let's say we move all the way back up to the high, all the way back up to 70.30 at least. There's 100 pips there for a 20 pip risk. All right. Cameron, you're saying you'd be inclined to sell at 70.30 rather than 70.69. Well, I'd probably wait to see if it got what it did there. So I might wait to see price get there first. So I would just sell at 70.30. If we don't take out that 4-hour structure low, I wouldn't sell at 70.30 like an order there because structurally the trend hasn't changed. Sure, we've had a strong sell-off today, but see we've got 4-hour here, support, support, support. If this doesn't put in the lower bottom, this is still in a trend, so it could easily move above 70.30 up to 70.69. Now, if we took that low out, then yes, I might favor then selling at 70.30 because I got a down, you know, a down structure forming on the 4 hour. At the moment, I don't have a down structure on a daily or a 4 hour, so I'd need to wait to see what price did up there if it gets there. All right, this is looking like it's going to break that swing point in the short term, so we might get a rally back up. You know, levels to watch moving back up. That monthly support or resistance now 69.67, 69.91. There's a band of monthly resistance there. So if you want to go long, make sure you manage your trade ahead of that area because price might not want to move through that area in any event. But just looking like it doesn't want to take out, what's that, Friday's low. Like these crossing up, looks like it's putting a little bit of base area here to move up. Euro yen, still not wanting to yet break north. Still, you know, buyers and sellers are fighting out there at the day support and the monthly support level here. All right. So this pair, whilst I'm suggesting maybe we're on support, we could still continue down. The 4 hour structure is clearly down. You know, we could just move up to 4 hour resistance on this pair, back up to 135.13, hold tomorrow and move further down again on that pair. Has been selling up strongly, but we're at a clear level of support. My bias isn't to sell that at the moment. Like I was saying before, we're on support. We've had a very long move down. Even if the overall downtrend is going to continue long term for that euro yen, you know, the most obvious level to look for this to rally up to now is broken support up here. To then, if it fails there, this is the area to look for yourselves to move down, to try and move down through this support. Support will, in all probability, come in there in the short term. Slav, you're saying, is it worth waiting for a second bottom to form before buying the Aussie? What, on the 15-minute chart? Well, it's up to you. It depends how much confirmation you want. You're assuming that I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is if we close above that swing, you know, break that swing point, you got a 20 pip risk. It could break that swing point and never give you a higher bottom until it gets all the way up here. So it's always a question of how much confirmation you want. If you wait, the more confirmation you wait for, the further price could have moved up the chart before you can potentially get in. So it's a balance of two things. You know, if I was going to trade that pair, I wouldn't be waiting for a further higher bottom. I'd be waiting for the break of that swing point because it's limited risk. And if it wants to move up to the top of the range, the risk reward is what? 20 pip risk for a 100 pip target, like I said. So that's a risk reward back up to 70.30 is 100 pips. So risking 20 to potentially make 100 if it works. So that's risk reward 1 to 5. So I mean, that risk reward's great. Is that going to work? I don't know. Nobody knows until the trade sets up. All right, you have to either decide to take the trade and be prepared to risk 20 pips, and the logical target would be up at 70.30. Of course, you can wait for more confirmation, like, you know, structurally forming on the 15-minute chart to move up. Will it put in a higher bottom? And then you could trade the break at the top, but it could just move up 30, 40 pips without giving you that. So we'll have to work out how much confirmation we need before getting in. All right, hopefully that helps you. All right, so we covered the euro yen. We're at major supports. Is that going to hold? Euro dollar. Already covered that. I would look at this lower level, but you know, doesn't have to get to the lower level. It is giving a trend line break to the upside here at the moment. I can see price putting a little higher bottom here on that pivot point, and MACD's crossed up. So this looks like it's wanting to move back up to maybe challenge resistance once more. Pound yen, like the other yen cross, has been moving down. I've had a nice double top like on the Aussie yen, and double top price projection has been just met today. Height of the pattern projected below, there it is. So this is way overstretched. It is breaking weekly support levels here, but price can easily false break weekly support levels and move back up the range. All right, this has been very range bound. We get rid of a few lines here. Hopefully now I got rid of those lines in the middle. Hopefully you can see the boundaries in general terms where price has been trading. You know, down, up, down. Is this? I know this is below these levels at the moment, but if we move above 160.38, that low, this has got every chance of moving back up to there again. All right, it's very range bound. All right, so I just be sitting on my hands at the moment on this pair, waiting to see. Okay, double top price projection has been met. Price is way overextended. Yes, it can go down another 200, 300 pips if it wants. But if you wanted to be a seller on that pair, you should have been selling up here. Not at the bottom of the price projection where it's stretched, and we're below weekly support, where what's happening here is we've broken that support level, we've broken that support level. So anybody that was long is selling to close their positions, okay? Some retail traders are selling because they think break of those lows means we're coming down to here. Now, it could mean that, but in all probability, they could be the last of the sellers, and we could just start to move back above these levels of support. So I'd just be sitting on my hands waiting to see what the 4-hour chart does. Does this structure change to up? If we just have 2 candles up here and close above these weekly support levels, that is starting to look positive because it can't hold below. So if this cannot hold below these levels and moves above, that's putting things back into the hands of the buyers. Look for a higher bottom to come in on the 4-hour chart. We move above, this becomes support. From move back up. All right. Yes, we can move further down, but if you wanted to be selling on that pair, you know, logically, up here was where you wanted to sell, not down here. All right, pound dollar. That was the one I reviewed initially. All looks bullish from 122 at the moment. Trend line break, MACD cross. If you can read the candles, I can read the candles on the 50-minute chart to see where price has been up to there and pull back. If I drop it down to a 5-minute chart, see how price has moved up above the trend line, above the figure. See how it came back down. Got support. It's got support at the figure twice on 2 5-minute candles there. So it's getting support there, wanting to move up from the figure at the moment. All right, New Zealand yen to the monthly chart. There's a monthly top here. It's a bit messy in here. I don't know if this is structurally changing or not. For a long time, this monthly top, we've got the New Zealand unemployment figures coming out tomorrow, so I wouldn't be trading either New Zealand crosses until after that. We've been wanting to try to hold above these monthly tops. 1, 2, currently below both. But the monthly MACD is still up. You could still say the structured price is still up there on the monthly. I know on the weekly up here, it's very resistance. You know, there's 4 tops up there, breaking below a low. So I know the weekly trend is down. And we could, you know, depending on what the New Zealand does with the unemployment figures, you know, this could be moving down to this level of support. 79.44 for whatever reason. And some bright sparky economists could tell us, I'm not an economist, but the New Zealand currency, even though they've been raising their interest rates significantly, the New Zealand, in the face of all those rises, generally speaking, has been in a downtrend and it's been one of the weakest currencies across the board. So while some of the other yen crosses are keeping their higher top, higher bottom structure on the monthly, this is maybe changing that pattern a little bit, and it's looking certainly more weaker on the weekly structure when you look at the tops up here. So this could well be coming down to 79.44. But there's monthly support that we're challenging at the moment. There's also this area of daily support we formed there. So we formed a base here to move up. So if we simply close back above this base, let me just draw it in. Here's the base. Whilst another weekly's down, we're coming back into a base that got formed to move up. All right, just there. It's a large base, but support really would come in, through here. If we close back above that level, that's support coming in. So in the next 24 hours, if we're back above that level, anticipate then we're moving back up to that monthly level of support / resistance at 83.90. Okay, so look at all the yen pairs that have been moving down. If they all start to move up from their support levels, this is just going to follow suit. All right, so this is coming into support here. This is not an area where I want to be a seller. If it had another really good day down, so we trade down another good day, then yes, I would look at that level to be resistance. All right. But I'd need another good day down to look at that to be resistance. That, tomorrow, if we trade above that level, we're potentially moving back up to 83.90. Should be looking then for setups to trade up. All right. Got something in the chat. Might have to go back to another chart. Cameron, you're saying, what pair are you relating to when you asked me that question about lower highs on the daily? GJ, all right. I just think on the GJ, so you're saying because we see lower highs on the daily, would this lead you to think that we breaks the range, it will go down? Well, we're heading into support here. All right. We've got down here weekly support, monthly support. If I go to the weekly chart, even if we move down further at the moment, we're heading into these tops here, which is all support. All right. So if I wanted to be a seller, I should have sold by now because we're heading to support. All right. Back to the daily. Selling up here, if you thought we were coming all the way down to these areas of monthly weekly support, we are more than 3/4 of the way down. All right. So there is only that much room left to the amount of room that we've already moved down. So selling up here, this is where it was discount selling, expensive selling. All right. So whilst we're in a downtrend in terms of trend, support and resistance always trumps trend. See here, we're in a downtrend here, but we false broke monthly, weekly supports. That's still a lower top, puts in a higher bottom, gets a bit mixed in here, but then it moves up. So support and resistance always trumps the trend, and we're heading into support. So if we start to move back above those weekly levels, there's not much room left to sell here. And even if there is room to sell, you've only got this level of support to come to. And this is a very high logical level of where price could stop and turn around. All right, so I don't know if the long-term trend's changing because the monthly trend's still up. That's the monthly high. That's the monthly low. So we're just a little bit below the 62% retracement where we've been getting support once, twice. So for me, logically, if we move back above those 2 weekly support levels, we'd start to move back above the 62 level. From a monthly perspective, we've moved up. This is a retracement. This could be where we're putting in the monthly higher bottom to move up that way. All right. So I just think, I know what you're saying, it's in the day chart trend now. So is it just going to continue down in a day chart trend? Well, it could do, but I think that we're getting to such strong areas of support that support will probably override that day chart trend. It's very difficult when, I know when you're less experienced and you're seeing, okay, the day chart trend is now moving down. Is it going to continue for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks? But trends finish at support and resistance. So look at where your key areas of support and resistance are. If I just tidy this pound yen up and go to the weekly chart, also I want to go to the monthly chart. This is a higher bottom to a top, another higher bottom to a top. You know, we'd have to break below that low to really change trend. And this area of broken resistance as being support on that dip, we could move to that area, but I'd expect that area to hold as support for a test. So there's not much room left to get to there. And then we could move back up to test the highs. It's very range bound. I haven't been trading this pair. It's not the easiest pair at the moment, although it did give you a nice double top up there last week. All right. All right, so I'm just gonna cover the Canadian dollar, and then somebody wants me to look at gold, I think. Canadian dollar, I've just been looking at this from a larger structure perspective. I was suggesting last week, you know, we could move to the 79. That would give a movement down, similar length to the last leg down. However, we can see here that we're getting some support at the 62% retracement. So we may have bottomed there to start to move up. All right. However, we've got these resistance levels to contain with once more, which keeps getting in the way of price. So if you're looking to trade that pair, make sure you're not trading into resistance. The first level to contend with is at 129.01. I mean, structurally on the day chart here at the moment, it's still lower top, lower bottom. So we could still see a deeper move down. If I wanted to trade this pair, for me, I don't want to trade into all this resistance that's been stopping the market. So for me, if I'm looking at a pair like this, I would much prefer to see a pullback down to here, the 79% fib level, because then if I can structure a trade down here for it to move up, I'm not having to struggle getting through resistance for my trade to start to work. So if it pulls back to the 79, I've got clear room here with no resistance in my way for price to move back up. Where it is at the moment, if you're wanting to get in, you're getting in close to resistance, which for me is a lower probability in terms of it moving up and being successful. So sometimes, you know, I can see where price might be getting support, and yes, it could move up over the course of time, but what's the headwind in the way? We've got weekly resistance at 129.01. That's monthly resistance at 129.63, and another weekly level of resistance up here that we failed at. Failed there once, twice, 3, false broke. So a deeper pullback would be much more helpful. We do have the Canadian job figures coming out on Friday with the US job figures. So day structure on that is still down. That could still pull back to 126.68 area. That would be the most opportune area to look for a reversal back up. So, you know, if it gets down there, even though I don't generally trade that pair, I might look at that pair, because that is a good level if it held there within the overall structure that's starting to form to move up. All right. Cameron, you asked me, when I analyze these pairs, am I setting alerts on TradeView, for example? So not on the chart 24/7. Well, I'm not on the charts 24/7, but I mean, if let's say I'm watching TV, I've got my phone next to me, and every so often I'm looking at prices. But I mean, I know that if price is trading at 126.68 today, it's going to have to do a lot to get down there today. It's probably not going to get down to there today, so I'm not worried about that pair at the moment. If a pair's 50 pips away from a level that I'm watching, then I'll set an alert on my phone. All right, but my phone's never too far away. I'm never more than 30 minutes away from just opening my phone just to scan the prices. All right, I'm not glued to the charts, but I've got the price feed on my phone. So, and I know in my head what price points I'm looking at. I know what pairs I'm looking at today and what price points I'm looking at on those pairs if I'm wanting to trade. So, I've got my phone's always with me, so I can always move from my phone back to my computer or even trade on my phone if I need to. So generally I don't set price alerts. I've generally got a good idea where price is and my price levels on the pairs that I want to trade. And, all right, let's just go through dollar yen and then we'll hit gold. Now, the dollar yen, we know it's been in a massive trend. And on the monthly here, it's having a month down. It's just trying to move below this 131.34 weekly support area. All right. If it holds below that level, the next level is this monthly top to move down to. Now, the weekly structure isn't changing. It's just a pullback like on the dollar index. So what I'm watching here is the 62 level, 131.33, lines up with the resistance level at 131.34 there. So that's a really nice level. I know we're trading below it at the moment, but if we start to close back above that level, there's a day chart low there. If we start to close back above that level, so I want the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is down, but like I've been saying on a number of pairs are coming into support, strong support levels. If we move back above this level, and we can move above that level today, and then we start to form some kind of support there, get a 4-hour low forming there, there's every chance then this is where the lows come in for a move all the way back up. Okay. So for me, the price point that's critical for, let's go back to the daily, for either move up or continue move down on this pair is that 130-134 level. We've had 2 to 5 negative days now. So we're due a rally just because nothing normally, under normal conditions, after 5 days of a move, will have some form of corrective. So the line in the sand for me is 130-134. If we maintain below that, even on the 4-hour chart, if we rally back up to there and want to hold, then we could be moving down to 125.85. But if we move above 131.34 and we start to form support there, it's good support here. So what we might find is that we just false break this low. We move back above. You put in a bottom there, coincides with that low and the support over there to move up. Now that might take 3 or 4 trading days to do that. But, you know, we're in a great zone, a great area where the market could get supports. So just start to monitor price action. What does it do? Does it start to show positive price action that you can start to get engaged with to move up? At the moment, it's not, but over the next few days, it could well do. I'm not going to sell a pair when it's down 5 days, because that has to be getting near the, in all probability, it's getting to the end of the short-term move. All right. So if it starts to move above here, there might be an opportunity to trade back up. All right. Somebody wanted me to look at silver. The code for silver. All right. I think I've got silver up in front of me. And all right, Slav, you wanted to have a look at silver because Nathan was talking to me about this the other day, so we were looking at it together. That's why I've got it here. All right, monthly trend is down, but we're having a month up, and this is a bit elongated down here, so this might be the end of that leg down for at least a little bit of a rally up. We're moving into, might just get my other chart. Get my swing points. On there. So we've moved into an area of support here. We've broken below this, what I would call a significant top. 121.12. There's lots of support just above that level at 121.40. So of course we formed a base of support and then broke below that top. So that's negative at the moment in terms of structure. So what I'm doing, and I've got a webinar coming tomorrow on market structure, a new one that I haven't done before. What I'm really refining here is the overall structure. So I'm actually going to do this tomorrow, talk about it, and this is what you need to be able to do to define what price is going to do. Is we formed some major structure that we broke below, and we broke below that top. So the monthly trend is down. It's having a bounce down here on this top. Weekly, it's coming up to this top. And this is very similar to gold. Gold is doing the same. It's coming up to, I say, a bottom here, which could form a top at. Gold looks exactly the same. Very similar in terms of where it's moving back to an old weekly support low. So that's 2045. All right, so day trend is up. Now we are holding there. So an aggressive approach to get in. If the four-hour structure hasn't changed yet, still higher tops and bottoms. But if we break the 4-hour structure, come up and put in a lower top, what I'm also noticing here is that we've got last week's high and last month's high along this red line here. So and that's the highest price people wanted to pay last month. It's the highest price people wanted to pay last week. So we could well see a 4-hour change in structure there. Does it come down, rally back up? Does it rally to a 62.79% retracement level where you can sell at to trade down? That looks a very opportune area to trade down from, as long as resistance holds. All right. So if you can structure a good risk to reward opportunity in that area. So like we say, MACD on 4 hours crossed down and negative divergence. All right, let me just. All right, so mine on the 4 hour, I don't see, well, there may be a possibility of a little bit of divergence. It's maybe there's a fraction there. I see what you're seeing. On the 1 hour chart, for sure, there's divergence there. So we're seeing, 1 hour and 4 hour charts showing some change of momentum there on the indicator for sure. So, there's no guarantee of anything. We're doing analysis here to define, okay, sure, this is a clear area of resistance. Can the 4-hour chart move to down? Will it then offer you a rally back up to a 62 or 79% level where you start to see price turnover? And can you then execute, a tight entry close to that resistance area for the opportunity to trade down, and then trading down to, support, first of all, and can it break that support to come down and change the lows? So yeah, this is a great area of potential resistance. Just what you just then need your trigger to get yourself in. Now, of course, an aggressive trader could have already traded here at the level, stop above. Like I sometimes do on the currencies, I'll trade down from resistance with a 100 pip stop. So that's more aggressive than waiting to see if price structurally changes ahead of moving down. Right, so you've traded it already. So, okay, so you've got your fingers crossed now that it has already failed and wants to move down. I'm the same as everybody else. We're all looking at the same chart here. So I know the 4 hours still up. I know the day is still up. So there's still the chance that price can push up and through. But I often trade like that, where it hits the level and I'm in, and I'm just waiting for price to change trend and move down. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. What I try to do all the time is structure, though. It's not a question of being right or wrong. It's a question of structuring good risk to reward. Like I was showing on that Aussie dollar trade, which, I don't know if that's going to work or not today. Hasn't yet broken that swing point that I was suggesting, where there's a potential of a 20 pip risk on entry to a 100 pip target. All right. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about being right over a series of trades and having good risk to reward setup. Because you're going to be wrong on trades, you're going to be right on trades. When you're right, you want to have that good risk to reward to rub out a couple of losses here and there when you get that good risk reward profit target. All right. All right, Slav. So, the structure looks, the area you're trading at looks good. Whether or not it's going to work, only time will tell. What's that 15-minute? Well, it's holding at a central pivot today. So that's good. Good for the sellers. All the selling pressure through London at the moment is coming in at central pivot. So, if I was looking at intraday entries. No, it's just starting to show some weakness there to break down to the downside intraday at the moment. So, good luck. So, you've traded at a good level. You just have to wait and see where it's going to hold. All right, what else is coming in the chat? Euro dollar MACD 4 hours almost crossed down. We'll probably do it in the next hour. Let's go back to the euro dollar. What is the euro yen doing as well? Still just holding at support. Euro dollar 4 hour. Yeah, it's a bit choppy in there. I don't know if that 4 hour is going to cross down. I know who's asking me? Is it you, Slav? You're asking me, aren't you? Now, the reason why you're telling me it's going to cross down is because you're short. All right, so what you're doing is projecting the change to the indicator. All right, now the indicator may well do what you want, but if I've got no emotional input to the euro dollar at the moment because I'm not in a trade. All right, so you're all right. So you said you closed the trade, but you were in before. So I've got no emotional baggage towards the euro dollar. I don't need the indicator to move down. All I'm seeing at the moment is the day chart trend is up, the 4 hour structure is up, and the MACD is up. So whilst it's having a rejection from the resistance up here, structurally the trend's still up. So as I say, I've got no emotional attachment to the pair because I'm not in it. Often once we're in a pair, we can start to get emotional about what we want indicators to do and tell us to confirm what we've done is right, because You know, we may have gotten in for whatever reason, but then we want the higher time frame to tell us. To me at the moment, we've only just started a 4-hour candle, started at 7 o'clock and we're at 8 o'clock. So there's another 3 hours to go. So this isn't going to cross down for at least 3 hours. Even the close of the next current candle may not cross that down. So it's not going to cross down for at least 3 hours, which would be 11 o'clock. All right. And by then, price may have moved up. If price moves up, that's not going to cross. So you can monitor it for sure. But at the moment, I was just assuming that you're still in, so it might be wishful thinking on your part because you're wanting, you know, that negative structure to start to form to help with the trade. But I don't know. To me, that still looks a little bit positive. We've got some news coming out on, what did I say, midnight. So this may not do much before midnight. Let me just double check before I go. But running a bit over time, but that's okay. Where are we? Yeah, we've got the JOLTS job openings coming out on the midnight. So that'll probably tell us whether the euro dollar is going to, yes, move up and retest the highs. To me, it's still structurally in an uptrend there. All right, so I'm going to leave you in a moment. Thanks for attending this evening, all the questions coming in. Hopefully you got some good levels there. Tomorrow we're going through a new webinar, and I'd love to be able to show you on the webinar page, but the webinar page seemingly doesn't want to update for some reason. So tomorrow I'm going to be going through market structure in detail. Oh, there we go, it's updated. Market structure in detail. If you can get great at market structure, then you'll start to know where you should be taking profits and looking to structure trades to get in, even if the counter trend. So that's going to be coming up tomorrow night. And then on Thursday, we've got analysis again. So we can update the levels and see whether those support levels were starting to work. Did we start to see some 4-hour uptrends forming on those support levels, especially on those yen crosses? All right, everybody. Thanks very much for attending. Hopefully you got some good information there that you can work with. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow night if you have the time.